Welcome to English Refine. I'm your host, and today we are jumping into a brand new deep dive.
I am really excited about this one. It is something literally everyone deals with.
Oh, absolutely. So to kick us off, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are walking down a super long, narrow hallway,
Okay, I am picturing it.
and right at the very end of this hallway is a room. And that room has everything you want. We are talking about, your closest friends, your family, maybe a huge career opportunity.
Right, the good stuff.
Exactly, the deep connections. But here is the catch. The hallway itself is packed with people you barely know.
Like strangers or just the people from your neighborhood.
Yeah, acquaintances, your neighbors, or even coworkers you only ever see on Zoom. And to get to that room at the end, you have to walk past all of them.
And you cannot just run past them looking down at your shoes,
You really can't. You have to speak. You have to make small talk.
which is terrifying for a lot of people.
It really is. So today, our mission is to decode the unwritten rules of English small talk. We want to prove that it is not just awkward filler.
No, it is actually the vital social glue that builds trust. It is what opens doors in daily life.
Exactly. And we are looking at some amazing sources today. We have sociological studies, cultural communication guides, and practical English learning frameworks.
It is a great mix. It really breaks down the everyday situations like greeting people, talking about the weather, and asking how someone is doing.
Right, simple everyday English. But before we get into the how, we really need to understand the why. Like, why has modern society become so bad at just talking in the hallway?
Well, the sources pull up this fascinating shift in how we live. There's this 2018 survey from the Pew Research Center.
Oh, I remember reading this. The numbers are wild.
They really are. The data showed that 50% of Americans talk to their neighbors about once a month or less.
Wait, 50%? Half the country.
Half the country? They are barely even acknowledging the people living right next door to them. And it is not just the U.S. We see this in big cities all over the world.
That is just staggering to think about. You share a fence with someone, you hear their dog barking all day.
You see their car pulling every day at the exact same time.
Yeah, but you actively avoid them. I mean, I have to admit, I do this sometimes. I will literally wait inside my house if I see my neighbor checking their mail.
Just to avoid having to say hello.
Yes, just so I don't have to engage. So what is driving that? Are people today just ruder?
Not at all. It really isn't about being rude. There is a sociologist, Pauline Strong, who explains this perfectly.
Okay, what does she say about it?
She says that modern city life prizes independence above pretty much everything else. Success today means being totally self-sufficient.
Oh, I get that. Like, you don't want to rely on anyone.
Exactly. We love the idea that we don't need to borrow a cup of sugar from a neighbor anymore. If we need sugar, we just tap an app and someone delivers it.
So we have basically engineered the need for neighbors completely out of our lives.
We have. And because we don't need them practically, we lose the built-in excuse to talk to them.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
But Stern also points out something else. It is the massive stress of modern life. Just think about your daily commute or the hundreds of emails you get.
Uh-huh. And your phone buzzing every 2 seconds with notifications.
Right. The outside world demands so much from us. So when you finally get home, your instinct is to turn your house into a private fortress.
You just pull up the drawbridge and hide.
Exactly. It is a defense mechanism. We subconsciously view any extra interaction, even a friendly one, as just another drain on our energy.
We treat small talk like a threat, like it is an intrusion on our peace. But if it just drains our energy, why should we care if we avoid it?
Because treating it like a threat means we fundamentally misunderstand what small talk is designed to do. Biologically and psychologically, it is essential.
Okay, break that down for me. What is actually happening when I ask someone if they think it is going to rain?
Well, small talk has three true psychological purposes. The first one is establishing friendliness and approachability.
Like showing you are a safe person.
Yes, exactly. Biologically speaking, encountering a stranger used to be a super dangerous event. You had to figure out fast if they were a threat.
Right, are they going to attack me or are they friendly?
So today, when you start small talk, you are basically telling the other person's nervous system, hey, I am safe. I follow the social rules.
It is like an auditory handshake. You are proving you don't have a weapon.
That is a great way to put it. Now, the second purpose is filling uncomfortable silences.
Oh, human beings hate silence.
We really do. Think about standing in an elevator with a total stranger. If neither of you says a word, that silence gets so
It
heavy.
gets awkward and almost feels a little hostile, honestly.
Right, so small talk just eases that tension.
Right.
And the third purpose, which the sources say is the most important, is that it acts as a bridge.
A bridge to what? Deeper conversations.
Exactly. It is a low-stakes bridge into high-stakes discussions. You cannot just walk up to a stranger and instantly ask them about their deepest childhood trauma.
Or pitch them $1 million business idea right away.
No, the human brain rejects that kind of sudden intimacy. Small talk is the vetting process. You test the waters with easy topics first.
You want to see if they are friendly and trustworthy before you commit to anything deeper.
Exactly.
Going back to that high-rise analogy, small talk is the lobby of the building. You don't want to live down in the lobby.
Right. It just has elevator music and boring chairs.
Yeah, it is not deeply interesting.
Yeah.
But you literally have to pass through the lobby to get to the really cool rooms upstairs.
You cannot just teleport to the top floor. But the problem is, people find that lobby terrifying.
Especially English learners, but native speakers too. Why is it so scary if the topics are just low-stakes things like coffee and the weather?
It is the unpredictability. The second you ask a question, you lose control. You have no idea what the other person is going to say.
Or if they're going to be mean to you.
Right. That creates a lot of anxiety. And for English learners, there are linguistic barriers too. Native speakers talk really fast,
They drop words, they use slang, they mumble.
sound like a wall of noise. But the biggest fear is the indirectness of English. Native speakers use a lot of coded phrases that don't mean what they literally say.
Right, and if you don't know the secret code, you feel totally lost in the lobby.
Exactly.
And what makes it even trickier is that this lobby looks totally different depending on what country you are standing in.
Oh, absolutely. You really need to read the cultural room before you speak.
Let's compare the US and the UK, because the sources use them as a perfect case study. They both speak English, but their rules are vastly different.
The American style is famous around the world. The sources describe it as enthusiastic, positive, and super direct.
The classic example is the grocery store line, right?
Yes. An American will literally turn to a complete stranger behind them in line and just start chatting.
They will compliment your shoes or complain about how expensive eggs are right now.
It is incredibly spontaneous. The American social rule is that everyone out in public is a potential participant in a friendly environment.
They love casual banter. But then you look at the UK style, and it's pretty much the opposite.
Very much so. The UK style is way more reserved. It is understated and highly polite. They prefer structured environments,
What do you mean by structured environments?
like a workplace or a dinner party or sitting at the bar in a pub, places where talking is socially expected.
So talking to a random stranger on the train is a bad idea.
Oh, definitely. If you start talking to a stranger reading a book on the London Underground, they will think you are being incredibly intrusive.
Because public transport is seen as a private mental space there.
Right. And British small talk uses a lot of dry humor and sarcasm instead of that bubbly American enthusiasm.
So understanding this is crucial for social safety. Because if you use the wrong style, you trigger people's defenses.
Exactly. Imagine a super loud, enthusiastic American tourist walking up to a British person in London.
Smiling huge and asking, what do you do for a living?
To the American, they are being friendly. But to the Brit, they feel overwhelming and inappropriately forward.
And it works the other way, too. A British person might give a very quiet, politely sarcastic response to an American.
Because the Brit thinks they are respecting personal space. But the American walks away thinking, wow, that person was so cold and rude.
It is just a total mismatch. But I want to push back on the American style for a second. Is it actually fake?
That is a critique you hear all the time globally.
Yeah, people say Americans ask how you are, but they don't actually care. If I ask a cashier how their day is going, but I don't really care, isn't that fake?
It feels fake if you measure it against deep friendship. But the sources point out that is the wrong metric. Small talk isn't about deep friendship.
It is about something else.
In the US, that friendliness is a tool for what sociologists call functional frictionlessness. The goal is just to make the brief interaction pleasant.
Okay, so it is just to get my coffee without any tension, but aren't the words still empty?
They are only empty if you think language has to be literal truth. If you see it as social signaling, it is full of meaning.
What is the real meaning then?
The real meaning is, I see you as a person, I am not a threat, and we are going to get through this interaction nicely. It is a social contract.
So everyone has to pitch in to make the atmosphere comfortable.
Exactly. It is a performance, sure, but it has a really positive purpose.
So for you listening, knowing these cultural rules is step one. If you are in New York, you can banter with strangers. If you are in Edinburgh, maybe stay quiet on the train.
Read the room before you play the game.
Okay, so let's say you read the room correctly. How do you actively start the conversation? What are the safe topics and what are the absolute landmines?
The sources say you should always use what they call soft openers.
Soft openers. That means focusing on the shared environment, right?
Yes, the environment is neutral ground. You are both experiencing it at the same time. You can just say, lovely weather today, isn't it?
Or, how's your week going? Just simple, polite things.
Right. It is a gentle invitation. You toss the ball into their court. They can answer with a full sentence or just give a one-word answer to end it politely.
But let's say they want to chat. Where do you go from the weather?
Mm-hmm.
The sources gave us a really great framework for this.
The F or a D framework. FORD. It is a lifesaver when your mind goes completely blank.
Let's break that down. The F stands for family, right?
Yes, but with a big warning label attached. You have to keep it very general. Do not ask deep, probing questions.
So I shouldn't ask why they got a divorce.
Definitely not. You just ask safe things like, do you have family in the area? It just shows you recognize they have a life outside of work.
Simple and safe.
Yeah.
Okay, the O stands for occupation, work.
Right. What do you do? Or are you working on anything interesting? Work takes up so much of our time, it is an easy topic.
People usually like talking about what they're good at. So what is the R?
Recreation. What do they do for fun? Hobbies, sports, weekend plans.
Oh, this is where the magic happens.
It really is, because this is how you find shared interests. If you find out you both love hiking, you instantly connect.
And the final letter, D, stands for dreams. That sounds a little intense for small talk, doesn't it?
It sounds intense, but it just means light future plans or travel goals. Like, do you have any holidays coming up?
Or, if you could travel anywhere, where would it be? It is positive and fun.
Exactly. So that is your safe zone, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. But knowing the danger zone is even more important.
The do not talk list. The sources are very clear about this. If you hit a landmine, the conversation dies immediately.
And you probably damage your reputation with that person.
So here are the absolute off-limit topics. Finances and salary, politics, religion, death, age, appearance, past relationships, and illnesses.
That's quite a list.
It is. I mean, politics makes sense, but why are some of these other ones so bad? Why can't I ask someone about money?
It comes back to psychology. Small talk is supposed to lower defenses. But asking about someone's salary triggers their deep anxieties about status.
It makes it feel like a competition, like you are judging them.
Right. It forces them to compare their worth to yours. And talking about past relationships or illnesses touches on real trauma.
I do hear people randomly bring up their exes or medical problems at parties, though.
And it always makes everyone around them freeze up, right?
Mhm.
When you trauma dump on a stranger, you are throwing a heavy emotional weight on them.
And they haven't agreed to carry that weight yet.
Exactly. You haven't built the trust required for that level of intimacy.
And we should quickly note, avoiding politics and religion isn't about taking sides. It is just that bringing them up destroys the neutral safety of the room.
Yes, it forces people to either agree, argue, or lie to keep the peace. None of those build trust.
It is like a video game skill tree. When you start the game, you are at level 1. You cannot use the ultimate super move yet.
You have to earn experience points first.
Right. Small talk is level 1.
Yeah.
The weather, the coffee. You literally cannot access level 5 like deep fears or money problems until the system allows it.
And if you try to cheat the system and skip to level 5, everything crashes. The sources actually give an amazing example of this.
Oh, the art gallery example. This is so funny and awful at the same time.
It is the perfect illustration of what not to do. So imagine two guys, Tom and Jerry, at an art gallery opening.
They walk up to the owner of the gallery, a guy named Prince. They start with a perfect level 1 opener.
They say, "Nice to meet you. This is a beautiful place. What inspired it?"
Flawless 4D execution. They asked about his occupation and the environment.
And how does Prince respond? He completely ignores the skill tree.
He says, well, my mother died and I had to make money. My wife left me. I was fat, much like you are. And my previous boss was terrible.
It is an absolute disaster. It is a masterclass in social destruction.
In one sentence, he hits death, past relationships, insults their appearance, and dumps all his financial trauma.
And the physiological reaction is immediate. Tom and Jerry's nervous systems crash. The cognitive load is way too high.
Tom just wants to escape. He literally says, it was nice to meet you. Let's go chat with other people, and runs away.
Prince forced them out of the safe lobby and threw them into an emotional intensive care unit.
Wow. Yeah, you just cannot do that to people. Okay, so we know the safe zones and the red zones, but let's look closer at the most common greeting in English.
The "how are you" conundrum.
It seems so simple, but it's actually a massive puzzle with hidden codes. Native speakers and learners trip over this all the time.
Because you have to read the depth of the relationship before you answer. You basically have to put the person asking into a specific tier.
Let's break the tiers down. Tier 1 is acquaintances, strangers, your cashier, or a coworker you barely know.
For tier 1, your responses are totally locked in. You really only say, good, well, great, fine, all right, or not bad.
And good is the most standard, even if well is technically better grammar. But the key here is that how are you isn't actually a medical question.
No, not at all. It is what linguists call a phatic expression.
A phatic expression, what does that actually mean?
It means the words are just doing a social job. They don't carry literal information. It is basically just a really long way of saying hello.
So if the cashier asks how I am, they are just following a script.
Exactly. If you start talking about your back pain, you completely misunderstood the assignment.
But then there is tier 2. This is your close friends, your family, your trusted coworkers.
The rules flip completely here. You can actually be honest.
You can say, I am stressed out, or I am worried, or hanging in there.
Right, because if you tell your husband you are fine, great, when he knows you had a terrible day, you are actually being dismissive.
But the words are only half the battle. The sources point out that tone and body language carry most of the real meaning in English.
Oh, absolutely. The exact same word can mean two totally different things depending on your pitch.
Take the word fine. It is the most loaded word in the English language. Let's say I ask you how you are, and you give me a quick, high-pitched fine with a smile.
That means positive compliance. Everything is good. I am safe. Let's proceed with the day.
But if I ask you, and you give me a slow, low-pitched, drawn-out fine, maybe while looking at the floor, that is an alarm bell.
It means the exact opposite of fine. It means I am really upset and I want you to ask me what is wrong.
And if an English learner just memorized the word fine from a book, they would totally miss that cry for help.
It happens all the time. And English is full of these indirect coded phrases. We have this weird habit of using negative phrases to say we are happy.
Let's decode a few of these. Someone asks, how's it going? And a native speaker says, not too bad. Or, could be worse.
Or can't complain, or same old, same old.
Literally translated, those sound so depressing.
Can't beat work.
How's like your house? Just
That's
straight down, but you are glad your car's okay.
I know, it sounds awful, literally. But socially, what do they mean?
They mean, I am totally fine, everything is stable. It is just cultural understatement.
We don't want to sound arrogant by saying our lives are absolutely perfect, so we humbly deflect.
And it also keeps the emotional temperature really low, doesn't it?
Yes. It demands zero emotional energy from the listener. If I say I am ecstatically happy, you feel pressured to match my high energy.
But not too bad. Lets us both just relax. I have also noticed English speakers use negative phrases to agree enthusiastically.
All the time.
Like if I say, wow, traffic was a nightmare today, a native speaker won't say, I agree. They will say, don't even ask, or tell me about it.
It's just so funny because don't even ask actually means let's talk about this right now because I am so frustrated too.
And tell me about it means you do not need to tell me because I went through the exact same misery this morning.
It is completely paradoxical, but it is all about protecting yourself. Direct, intense emotions make you vulnerable. These idioms are a protective buffer.
You build solidarity without having to drop your emotional drawbridge. I love that. Okay, so we survived the greeting. We decoded the weird negative idioms.
We stayed in the safe zone with the F4OD topics.
Right. Now comes the part people dread. You talked about the weather. You talked about the traffic. Now what?
How do you stop the terrifying silence from creeping in?
Yes. How do you keep the ball in the air?
You have to use active listening and sustaining phrases. These are your lifelines.
What are some good sustaining phrases?
You can use pivot questions like, what do you think about? And point out something in the room. Or go back to 4D. If they mentioned a hobby earlier, ask them about it.
How'd you get into that hobby? People love explaining their passions.
Or just simply say, really? Tell me more about that. But what if you actually don't understand what they said?
Right, especially if you are learning English or the room's just loud, you can't just nod and pretend because eventually they will realize you aren't listening.
Exactly. You have to ask for clarification politely. Just say, could you say that again, please? Or what does that word mean?
And there's a big grammar tip in the sources here.
Yeah.
Non-native speakers often ask, what means X?
Yeah, that sounds really jarring to a native ear. You have to use the auxiliary verb. You have to say, what does X mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Got it. But speaking of grammar, casual English totally throws the textbook out the window.
Oh, completely. Casual small talk is all about speed and rhythm. We use something called ellipsis.
Ellipsis, what is that in practice?
It is chopping off the subject and the verb when the context makes it obvious. If you are reading a book, I won't ask, is the book you are reading any good?
Right, that sounds like a robot.
I will just point at it and say, any good? Or if you look exhausted, I won't ask, are you having a busy day today? I will just say, busy day.
Any good? Busy day. It sounds so much more relaxed and natural.
Exactly. It makes you approachable. And another massive part of being approachable is back channeling.
The supportive little noises you make while the other person is talking. Like, uh-huh, and right.
Yes, exactly. Wow, yeah. These tiny sounds are incredibly powerful psychologically.
It tells the speaker, I am listening to you, and I value what you are saying.
Because if you just stare at them in dead silence, they will feel like they're talking to a brick wall. Their anxiety will spike.
It is just like playing tennis. When someone serves a conversational ball over the net, you can't just catch it and stare at them.
The game dies immediately if you do that.
You have to hit it back.
Yeah.
You make a supportive noise, validate them, and ask a follow-up question. That rhythm builds rapport.
And that rhythm is actually a critical professional tool, too. It is how workplace diplomacy works.
Give me an example of how that works in the office.
Say you need a coworker to review a report. You cannot just walk up, slam the paper down, and say, review this. That is super abrasive.
Do you use small talk to soften the demand? First, ask about their day, then use a softening phrase.
Like, do you mind if or I was wondering if.
I was wondering if. That is a superpower phrase. It changes a bossy demand into a polite collaboration.
And notice the tense. I was wondering. It is in the past continuous tense.
Which pushes the demand away from the immediate present. It creates a polite buffer.
It protects their autonomy. It gives them an easy out to say, I'm really busy right now, without anyone losing face.
That is brilliant. Okay, so we have had a great 10-minute conversation. We hit the tennis ball back and forth, but now we face the final boss.
The graceful exit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ending the conversation is honestly scarier than starting it for a lot of people.
Because no one wants to feel trapped, but nobody wants to be rude and just run away either.
But a good ending is what sets up the long-term relationship. What is the golden rule for escaping?
You must provide a reason for leaving. You can never just wait for a pause, say goodbye, and walk away. That feels incredibly jarring.
So what do I say? Do I need a highly detailed excuse?
No, even a vague one is perfect. A classic phrase is, anyway, I'd better let you get on.
Oh, that is so smart. It frames my exit as a favor to them. Like I am leaving so they can get back to their important work.
Exactly. Or you can say, well, it's been great chatting, but I need to head back to my desk. The formula is signal the end, give an external reason, and sign off politely.
And there is an amazing pro tip in the sources about what happens later. Let's say I do a perfect exit at 10 in the morning in the break room. And then at 2 in the afternoon, I pass that exact same coworker in the hallway. Do I have to start the small talk engine all over again?
No, absolutely not. Do not restart the engine.
Oh, thank goodness. That sounds exhausting.
The social contract for the day is already fulfilled. Just smile, give a quick nod, or say hi again, and keep walking.
But I want to dig into the excuse thing for a second. Why do we always invent an excuse like, I need to grab a coffee or I should find the restroom?
Why can't we just be honest?
Yeah, why can't I just say, I liked this talk, but I'm done talking to you now?
Because of face saving, it protects the other person's ego. If you say, I am done talking to you, it sounds like a rejection.
It sounds like, you are boring me now.
Right. By blaming an external force like needing coffee or getting back to work, it preserves their dignity.
It isn't you, it's the universe forcing me away.
Yeah.
That keeps the lobby safe for next time.
Precisely. And this actually brings us all the way back to the beginning of our deep dive.
Back to the Pew Research study and the 50% of people ignoring their neighbors.
Yes. How do these tiny little interactions, a nod, a weather joke, a high-pitched fine, actually fix something as big as neighborhood isolation?
Because social connection scales up. It is built in tiny, consistent drops. First, it is just a smile at the mailbox.
That establishes basic safety. The next time, it scales up to a quick weather chat.
And then, because things feel safe and pleasant, you might ask for a tiny favor. Hey, do you know a good plumber?
Which people love. because it makes them feel helpful. And maybe months later, you bring them cookies.
And eventually you invite them over for coffee or start a community garden. But you have to climb the small talk ladder first.
You can't just skip to the community garden. Is there a mathematical formula for it? Like 5 weather chats equals 1 lunch invite.
Well, human behavior isn't a strict algorithm, obviously. But there is the mere exposure effect.
Meaning the more you see someone, the more you inherently trust them.
As long as the interactions are positive,
It is.
it's like compounding interest in a social bank account. Every time you actively listen, you make a deposit.
And eventually, that account pays out the dividends of a real friendship.
That completely changes how I view it. So let's recap this massive journey we just went on.
We started with the paradox. We need small talk to fight isolation, but we avoid it because we are tired and fear the unpredictable.
We learned to read the cultural room. The U.S. uses enthusiastic banter to make things run smoothly, while the U.K. prefers quiet, structured, polite chats.
We covered the safe 4D topics: family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and we learned to strictly avoid the red zone triggers like money and politics.
We solved the how are you puzzle. We decoded how negative idioms like could be worse are actually psychological shields.
We learned to keep the ball in the air with active listening, dropping rigid grammar for natural ellipsis, and softening demands at work.
And finally, we mastered the graceful exit saving face so we can keep building that community bank account.
It is a lot, but it is so important.
It really is. So your biggest takeaway today: do not treat the hallway like an obstacle. It is the biological building block of connection.
Every deep relationship you have ever had started with something trivial like, is this seat taken?
Exactly. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over. We know face-to-face small talk is the ultimate social glue.
But we live in an era where AI drafts our emails and texts.
Right. We love text-based communication because we have total control. We can edit and curate our image perfectly before we hit send.
You cannot edit real-life banter.
Exactly. So as our brains get more used to this perfectly curated digital life, how will that affect our ability to handle the messy, awkward reality of talking face-to-face?
That is a great question. Will real small talk become a lost art?
Or, because it is getting rare, will the ability to confidently chat with a stranger become a highly sought-after premium skill? Will the people who still know how to talk in the hallway be the ones who end up running the world?
Something to really think about.
Definitely. Keep it in mind the next time you are standing in line at the store, deciding whether to stare at your phone or look up and say, "Lovely weather today, isn't it?"